me. Trust me, I think they're all gonna die of diabetes.
So I was in the Walkers, I didn't eat those. So we'll call the meeting to order, 5 o'clock. We gotta review the minutes. You already, that's the one you already sent to us, right? Yeah, very good.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2018 as written.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. We have to sign the warrants.
No abatements this time?
Who's getting their money back, huh?
Oh, that was a closing.
That one there. I see we're signing here for Tyler and Howard again. They got their work done?
No, it's not signed till we find out.
Did you check them? Woody?
I did. So they had a printing error. If you looked through the spreadsheets they gave you, you'd see that they actually have the right size pipes, but the spreadsheets don't correlate to the map. So I told them that. And he did explain that they had a printing error, that they're going to issue new drawings to us, and that they're going to alter the drawings to better show the pipe sizes on the map.
So the calculations were based on the right size?
Yes.
Okay.
You checked that?
I can't check it until they send me the next set of drawings.
No, but the report we had originally.
The report, the spreadsheet, if you read through it, you'll see that the appropriate size pipes are in the...
So the pipe you
With the pipe
wanted.
number.
Right.
You wanted the 1 inch, and 3/4 or 1 inch all the way through. Is that what you're getting? Or are they downsizing?
I'm
No,
not
he's
sure.
talking about the water model. Remember we were going through the pipe
Oh, the
size,
water
so
model.
we
I thought you were talking about the chemical feed.
No.
Okay.
They haven't made a decision on that yet. I have. As soon as they say no, then I'm just going to change it.
Yeah, they got to fix that. Because you're going to be burning pumps out. It's going to cost us more money in the end.
Oh, okay.
Security alarm, $1,767. Is that for a quarter or something?
No, it's 3 months built. Yeah, it's for a quarter, basically.
Quarter, yeah.
And they're actually really good. I've had them set up so that I'm notified when power goes out. Because it always seems to go out at Manley Street at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And then there's 2 buildings there, so you get multiple calls.
Was it the trees hitting wires or something over there? Or?
I don't, it happens a lot at Manley. I just, for some reason up that way it does. I want to have them, I mean, the guy, obviously, is a new guy now, so I want to get to go to him. I want to trigger the flood alarms to it. So I'll just work with him and figure out how I can get all the wires there for him to reduce our costs.
Peter Marr, what did you do for us there? $3,900.
I would have to, I don't know, I'd have to see it.
I thought I was questioning his bill, I just wondered what.
The only thing that the last thing he did was,
Clean the well?
no,
Didn't he check the... We have him check something that was in the last...
I didn't, I asked him something, that doesn't cost us anything.
You're right.
No, I thought it was something about the capacity of one of the pumps. These numbers are not in that spreadsheet you sent
They're not in
us,
that
right? So
spreadsheet
like the
yet. I'm
chemicals
trying.
that are adding on.
Right, I'm trying to capture more of that now, because
Well, what we have, when we go to
You just put
Ask.
one posting, put it up.
Well, I'll give that to the town, they put that on the next year when any changes that we make. Like say you can't have it on a Tuesday, we'll have it on a Wednesday, if the Monday's a holiday, I just send a thing over.
Basically, we just put that
Every
up, so.
department, I mean, yeah, every department, every committee does that once a year in January.
Yeah, and then you still have to send the agenda over
Oh,
the
yeah.
week before.
Those are just the dates, that's what they were requesting.
There it is. Oh, the layout.
Oh, it's not Peter, it's Mar, it's UV lights.
Yeah. The other bar.
And it does get confusing because they have the same name. So when you said 3,200, I'm like, that's a little cheap for a well, usually right around
Yeah, I
5 or 6
just couldn't
grand.
figure out what that was an odd number. Couldn't figure out what he had done.
And that's like preventive maintenance, that's just to get new. Get
Well, the lamps age out.
Yeah.
And that's our water tax now, huh, 2280?
Yeah. I think they kept it the same this year. I think that's the email I got, so it was based on whatever we produced.
But they can actually do that to us, make us pay for that.
Well, the good thing
With all
is,
the other stuff that we have to pay,
Right.
and what they tell us to make us actually pay it on the sides.
they're beginning to backfill some positions, so at least there's people
We
there.
fought that, for years, and we kept winning and winning. They actually came down and asked us to stop because it kept getting rejected by the State House. And finally, it got passed. It took them years to get it through.
They hired anybody that's gonna help us get stuff checked over and lined up quicker, or?
Probably not.
So explain the water tax, Wayne, I don't remember seeing this before.
So it funds DEP, basically. It's a tax on what we produce for water. They assess a rate.
We pay it once a year?
It's so much per million gallons that a town produces, and it helps support DEP, that's what they say. So we're helping support the, what do they call it, they're watching over the federal mandate of the Safe Drinking Water Act for the federal government, and we're paying for it. And they're helping us. They're helping us.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah, they're helping us.
Helping us comply.
Yep. I thought that was their job anyways, but.
And I thought we already paid taxes that are supposed to go to pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you all set there, Tom?
Yep.
Yearly posting of meetings. You have,
It's attached to your
it's in here.
behind notes.
Just first and third.
Yes.
One
That,
day every
that
month.
okay with
Unless
everybody
it
still?
falls, unless the Monday is a holiday.
And then it-
To Tuesday. But if I just put it for Tuesday, but if you have to change it going forward, I just have to send a notification.
So we're gonna still meet on Mondays, everybody fine with that?
Yeah, Monday at 5 works for me, fine.
Tom? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
You made the vote?
I did.
Okay.
Tom seconded it.
Right on.
I was gone anyway, you just beat me to it.
Sign that too?
Um,
Do we each have to sign it?
Just
or-
you,
No,
right?
I just need a vote. I don't need it. Yeah, I'll take that actually. I'll send that
Okay, and I gotta sign the minutes here because we accepted those.
in. Thank you.
Copeland Street, chronic water quality discussion.
They've been complaining for quite a few years now. And we were trying to work with them, but one of the residents took to leaving us obscene-filled messages, so we closed the gate right around the Coit farm, and that seemed to quiet them down, or at least they stopped. But it didn't fix the water problem. I think what's happening, it all started about the time the Walnut Street tank came online. I'm not sure how that would affect it, but if you look, we push water in that direction. So you have North Elm comes up one side, Copeland comes up the other, and then they meet, but you're pushing on both sides. So I think what happens is the water just washes back and forth there. It doesn't really go in any one direction.
Anywhere else in town we've had this problem?
No, not really. I mean,
But you would have had that same condition even with the other tank there.
I know.
I don't see that the Walnut Street tank would affect that. I suggested Wayne that he check the amount of C5 and the amount of sequestering that he's getting from the C5 in that area, because he may be low.
On the last time that I did the C5, he indicated that we were probably on the higher side with our amount of C5 going
I'm just
down.
saying in that area.
Yeah, but I can't, it's not like I can inject out there. What I send out.
I know, but let's just, you could look and see if it's low, you'll know what it is. You know what I mean?
Right, so what we've been doing is flushing like every other day, but we're lucky right now because I have a place to put it, and as the roads freeze up, so right now I can put it off the road, and I haven't gotten back to them yet to see how it's helped. I know
You left the valve closed?
we have the valve open now, because it wasn't working obviously, because she said it wasn't working.
Where is the problem, Wayne?
So show
Right
them on the map up there, so they.
Right around the Coit farm area.
So which house, is it the new house up there?
No, it's, yeah, I forget her name, A1 Tone.
Oh, okay, that's,
So it's basically right in here.
are they the only ones having a problem? there?
Yeah, there's no,
How about that Apple Lane? Do they have any
I've
problems?
never heard. we've
What
never
if-
heard-
so there's other houses right there across the street, are there any of them having?
Yeah, we hear from right in that area. It's
So
right
what is
there.
what is the complaint?
It's right there.
That's it?
Yeah, so she regularly draws water to take care of her horses, but she's not anymore because, well, she probably is now, but because she was having too much dirty water.
For the horses?
Yeah, that's how she sees the most of it, and she said that she basically.
So that's
What
telling me.
about in the house? I'm sorry, but I mean,
Yeah, she has it in the house also.
to
But
the
that's
point
what-
where like, the toilet bowls are discolored and
Yeah, yes.
we don't have this problem anywhere else?
I've never, no, just basically scented right there.
Okay, so have you tried closing off one of the gates and really scouring that pipe? Because that looks to me like that's it's all just settling out. That water's clear and the iron's settling out on the bottom. So that
We have
looks like iron is coming off the side of the pipe, not something to be in the water. Either that or you're precipitating it out of the water as it's going and you haven't got enough C5 in it to keep it in suspension in the water. It should be invisible. If you put C5 in there and stir it around, you won't see that anymore.
What is the main up there? Is it transite or steel?
No,
No,
steel, cast iron, old cast iron, very
So it's
old.
not lined.
No,
No,
So it's old cast, it must be iron coming out of the pipe then, huh?
well, I mean, everybody has their theory.
where's your gate there? Is it right by
It's right by his farm.
the farm there? Is there a gate there?
So they were actually trapped on the dead side of it, and I couldn't flush them.
Okay, if you close that gate, is there a hydrant on
Right
that?
there.
Where's the
There's
hydrant?
no hydrant on that side. The closest hydrant is back down by Pine Tree there.
Is there only one main going down that road?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your theory, Wayne?
I think it's washing back and forth. It's not, it
But it's
becomes
washing back and
stagnant.
forth, but what's it coming, it's gotta be coming off the main, right?
Right, so the dirt, it just stays
It's
there.
scouring something.
Right. So right now, like
If
I
it's
said,
sloshing, it
we're,
shouldn't be scouring anything though, there's no velocity to
Right, it's not, well, basically, once you close the gate, they're dead-ended, they're on the very end of the line.
They're at the end of the line? I don't see an end of the line.
When the gate is closed, the gate is right there.
But even when it's not, that just kind of goes up and loops around.
Yeah.
So it's not like it draws a lot of water past.
No, when you're
No.
pushing, there's no place for it, so you're pushing on, because when it goes through, when you're pushing up towards the tanks, it comes through here. So you're pushing on both sides. There's no way for it to really go in one direction and make the loop around. You'd have to drop the pressure on the other side. to
But
get
it's
it
been
back up.
flowing that exact same pattern since 1948.
I know, but it
Nothing's changed.
started probably about 4 years ago, the complaint started.
So, check the C5. Check the C5, and I try to isolate, there's gotta be gates on North Elm Street.
They gave you, I know it was late, unidirectional flushing. What do they have up in that area? Do they have something you could try to just get that main isolated and see if you can get a good flush out of that main? Even though you might pull in a little bit from,
Well, so the last time that we tried to work up in here, the gates, even though the picture shows it this way, that's not how the gates laid out in the street. So we ended up, that's when we discovered that the pit was open-ended. So this spring, we'll go back out with a detail officer and try to mess with those gates and figure out which one actually shuts off Copeland Street. So we could actually stop it up there, and then the hydrants.
Is that what a unidirectional flushing map shows, to shut that off? Down there?
I haven't looked at the flushing program to see what they say for flushing yet.
I mean, that might be worth taking a look. If there's
Yep.
a way to get a decent flush through there, let it run even longer than they say, because you're not doing it from the beginning, so you're gonna be
Right.
pulling some other dirty water
Yeah.
in, so it'll take a while to clean up. But if you do that, you know, unless what you've already done, check with them and see if it's cleared it up.
Yeah.
Isn't there a hydrant right up beyond there where you got the gate shut off? Isn't there a gate?
Shaw,
I mean, a hydrant?
no, there's no hydrant. Coit's Farm and Shaw.
Yeah, Coit's Farm, there's one.
Yeah,
All right, across the street from the barn, right?
right here.
Okay, so why don't you open up that gate, close the gate? There's gotta be a gate on North Elm Street. Close one of those.
The gates are up here. Right now, I can't tell you which one
Okay, well,
does it.
shut them both off. If there's two up there,
And
shut
one
them
of
both
them's
off.
open-ended into the pit, and it doesn't, even though the picture shows it that way, in the street, it's not that way. So we have to fix the GIS drawing also. It's not the way the picture shows it crystal clear. Oh, just shut off this gate, and it's not that way in the street.
It always was. We used to fix leaks up there all the time. We used to shut those gates off the way they showed the water shut off. That's how we used to fix leaks. Go down to
I think the closest,
Shaw Ave. Go to Shaw Ave there. Is there any gates right there?
no, I think the first one I just saw was, there aren't too many gates on North Elm,
No.
right? No?
So there
So,
was me in town, that's why.
right, so they cheaped out.
Go down a little further.
Yeah, was that 64? Or 58?
There's Roosevelt. I don't think you get to any until right here. No, I guess. Yeah, not even there. Oh,
No,
the first
no.
one appears in the driveway,
Where's that?
and that one has to be replaced right here, 516.
Okay, so if you shut that off, but you'll have to go back and shut off all those other sections too.
Yes.
Shut them all off. The trick is to go up, just see if you can figure out those gates and that you don't know about up there. They always used to work.
They
The
were.
one that's red, the one that's painted red is definitely off, and it should have a stick in it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a stick in it.
What happened to the stick?
I don't think there was ever one put in it.
Yeah, there was. Is the cover painted at all?
No.
You're not looking at the right gate then.
Oh,
You're not looking at the right one. How far apart these gates you're looking at?
they're further than what that picture shows.
Yeah, they're about 10 and 15 feet apart,
Yep.
the length of the pit.
Like I said, we'll probably go back up in the spring. If we get a week of warm weather that's forecast warm, once we get past the vacation, then I might grab a detailed copper and go up there and play with it.
Well, take a sample from her house and give it to the guy that sells us the C5 and see what the C5 level is up there.
Yep.
Because that shouldn't look like that. If it's got enough C5 in it, it shouldn't look like that. Anything else?
No, we'll just check, see what you can, see what it says in that directional program, and, oh, fingers crossed, maybe it'll clean up enough in the meantime that we don't have to deal with too much. They said once it starts getting cold, you don't want to be irons.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave that gate off though by your house.
It's
because-
not, it's open now.
Yeah, okay, because if you have a fire up there, you're only gonna have the water flow in one direction. You're better off with it coming both ways so that hydrant.
And it's not just her, you said it's, there's other houses down there.
It's clustered right there. Yeah, there's probably about 6 of them.
All right, did you look in the, click on that, just for, click on that with the lightning rod, that red gate. See if it brings up the hand drawing from
I have the hand drawing.
from 1948. Well, it should be in there. There it is. There's the gates right there. Those are hand drawn. Those are done way back. Those are done in probably 1910, 1920. You should be able to find those. And they'll do just what they say they do.
Except they didn't draw any lines
I was
in.
gonna say, it would be nicer if the pipes were on there too, to see what was on
Yeah,
there.
'cause you can't tell what they do now.
No. I do have a better hand
There was
drawing.
a note on there. Did you see that note?
Yes,
What's it say? Check what?
I'll open up again. Check 1 is CH side of old meter something.
Probably the meter pit.
It says check 1 is, but they didn't say which one. Checked them, and 1 is this other side of the meter pit. But it would be better if they checked it and then put it in there.
And show, yeah, drew it on the card.
But I have a better drawing than this that does the same thing too.
Okay.
But you still.
I just haven't had time to get back up there.
So click on one of the green ones. See if does it bring up same drawing?
That one doesn't have one. That one does.
There you go.
Different.
Yeah, that one's got the pipes in it. Blow that one up.
Yeah, except it goes off of a tree. Okay.
But that's going off the county bound. That's still there.
Yeah.
You go off the county bound, 66 feet 10 inches.
I
And
don't
the other
think
one's
trees
44
are-
off of that. And then you got 2211 between the two of them.
Use your metal detector, should find them.
Yeah, you'll find
No,
it.
they're all visible. It's just a matter of being there with that officer and then just playing with them. to
Yeah,
figure
but if
out-
they're visible, as long as you can pull us.
Right.
So what do
pull
they
the
do there?
610, you'll have the right one to go over.
So one of those gates right there looks to me like it went to the old schoolhouse. That one right there,
Well, that was before I was born.
oh, it was there. It was before I was born, but I know there was a schoolhouse there. See, the 12-inch ash, that's where the schoolhouse was.
Yeah.
So that one right there, why would a gate be there?
Is that even before the pit and everything else though? 'Cause
I
that's
think
only
so.
got the 2 valves.
Yeah.
It'd help you find the one that's supposed to shut off Copeland from North Elm, but that's probably about it.
The easiest is gonna first just go up there and
Yeah.
close the gate somewhere and open up the hydrant and start to see if it shuts it down or not, and then get it into the drawings correctly.
Well, better do it.
Yep.
You said you get a warm spell and.
Water meter discussion? Are you, water meter discussion?
Yeah, so I had a customer that was, rents out a house, so he had tenants that, normally they didn't use any water, but for some reason during the summer, in his last billing period, they used water. And it was kind of an odd usage, but somehow he doesn't believe our meters, so he wanted his meter changed. So I told him, we just don't change meters. We can have it tested, but if it tests out fine, you're gonna pay for the test. No, he wanted his meter changed, so rather than have him come in, that's why I figured I'd let you know, but I told him
Thought
we
we
don't.
discussed this last time.
I don't think so, no.
This is what you sent out in the email.
Yeah,
Oh, that's where I read it.
Yeah.
so I told him we're not gonna change it. If we changed everybody's meter in town, then the rates would go through the roof, get $400 a meter.
Yeah, we're not changing.
And we don't, so I'm
Where's
just
this
making
at?
sure I'm just running it by you because,
When you explain to them that when they don't work right, they tend to
well,
register.
right, so I gave him a better spread and it showed, so it was a weird usage. It's like they were away and they came back and they ran the water for almost 2 days straight, day and night. So when I look back, so I gave him another spreadsheet with more data, and when I look back through the data, I saw it appear again, but like back in 2016 or 17. So I haven't heard back from him then.
Somebody leave the hose running or something? That's easy enough to.
Yeah, I can't tell you what they did or didn't do, but they don't use a lot of water, but when they do, it's like for a day straight they do it.
Do they have a pool? Fill in a pool?
And that one, I don't think so.
So now it's going back to normal usage.
Yeah. So I haven't heard back from him since I gave him
And if
2
he-
years
if
worth of
he's-
the data to look over.
If he's willing to pay for the test, if it comes down
Right.
to it and he really pushes it. But
Yeah, we always do that.
Yeah, what's the chances that the meter's gonna be
Yeah.
bad, that it's
We've never
gonna
had one be
register
more
like that?
water than
Right,
Slim to none.
yeah.
was being used.
Yeah, so we'll just do what we do with all of them.
Right.
We'll test it for him, and if it's wrong, we'll change out his meter, but if it's right.
Does he have a neighbor with a pool that maybe when the tenants are away, the neighbor drops off?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I try not to get that involved.
No, I mean, do it. What you're doing is fine, that's all you can.
Leak detection.
So, along the same line, when the customer has a leak, I have no problem sending out a guy. And basically, you lose somebody for an hour to 2 hours, so you lose 2 guys for time. So if the customer has a leak, that's fine, but in this last instance, that wasn't a leak, that was usage. So that was 2 visits to the house. Hopefully that was the last of it. But if you're gonna keep eating up my time, at some point we should start charging people when you're not fixing anything. It's usage that is your problem. It's not a leak. But he had no leaks too, because there were no leak trips.
Is this an unoccupied,
No, it's
Rental
the
property?
same price.
I mean, non-owner occupied?
Right, correct. And not that, I don't think the bill was excessive either. It wasn't. It's
How
just
much
that
higher than his normal bill?
if it was 50 to 100 bucks, I think.
Huh.
It wasn't like $1,000 or $2,000. It was, and the usage was, like I said, for the most part, the people aren't even there. But when they do come back, it's for like a day straight. You'll see the water run, and
What's the address?
Doing a whole bunch of loads of laundry and washing the car.
What was the address?
53
Brooks?
Sunset.
Oh, Sunset.
I'm not in favor of charging people for it. That's just customer service, I think. What do you guys think?
At this point, it's not a big problem. I mean,
No.
But
hopefully-
if it was the same person more than a couple of times though, for the same thing, might want to consider something like that.
Right, and we'll see. I mean,
Have
I've
you done
never,
it before?
Give them like 2 free.
I've never been
freebies.
there before, but then I've been back, and it's quiet now, so maybe he's all set.
If every week we're going out on these calls a couple times a week, that'd be different.
Yeah, to the same person with nothing
Yeah.
being done, but that's not like that's really happening.
No. I just
I mean,
want
honestly, people don't know how the meters work. They could think
Right.
maybe there isn't. I can understand that. But once it's explained to them, we owe it to them to go out and look and explain it to them. It's the first
right.
time. You know, they may not understand it. You know, once you explain to them how they work, they should understand it.
I did explain.
Probably not.
And if the guys go out and they check it and there's no leak, you know,
Right.
that should be, or if it's a leak and they tell them what to fix,
Right.
again, should be the end of it.
Well, that's the other thing, we're gonna tailor our little, because people somehow have the understanding that we're the magicians and gonna come up and fix it. That's not the case, we're not plumbers.
No, we can't
We
help.
can't always find leaks. It's sometimes.
We can help them, we can
I've
try
been in
to
a
help
house
them.
before where it was a steam
You
boiler.
talking about
that
leaks
was used.
inside the house?
And it
Yeah.
took me almost 30 minutes of being in the
It's
house.
usually
to
the
see
toilet.
it's
It's a
leaking.
toilet, 9 times out of 10.
But the guy was just
Otherwise,
leaking,
you'll see it.
he was really detail oriented to see that leak. It was so minute, but he knew it was doing it.
So as long as he didn't, you know, expect us to fix the steam boiler.
No, once he realized what it was and I tracked it, it took a lot of effort to find it, but he was okay with it.
Well, we can't fix the leak, we can just find it.
Right. Sometimes, not always.
How about the Manley Street valves?
All right, so we have 24 of those.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So I bought the rebuild kits. While we were rebuilding it, that's when we discovered that the rubbers didn't wear out in the valves. It was the valve wore out. They're actually washing out inside.
The metal?
Yeah. So if you look in here, you'll see there's a lip there. Then down here, you don't see any lip anymore. The metal is actually washing away.
Is this the one that had the pinhole?
Yep, it's right on this side.
Yeah.
In this instance, when the valve went, this one was the one that we just have now, it actually washed out inside, so it was letting the water through. When the valve is supposed to be closed, it can't close.
And where are
They
these?
won't see.
So this one was an 8-inch, and I think it was $6,600 to replace, and I ordered it.
Explain to me what that valve does, Wayne.
So that one is that's on the finished water. Each one is in a different, there's 24, there's 8 to a filter. So they all.
Oh, these are in the iron removal plant?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they all do different things.
I got you.
And the one that let go was in the finished water side, so I can't backwash the
And
filter.
the finished water's doing that?
Yeah. Yep. So I asked the distributor, and he goes, well, it's just however the water is. Well, it's finished water. It's an iron removal plant. It's got no minerals in it. But there's another one getting ready to go. You can see it's also washed out.
So you're saying the rubber was fine, it ate through the metal and was...
Yeah, it's
leaking
eating
out.
through, they're eating through the metal.
And how did you know it was doing that?
Because when we were rebuilding it, we found the hole.
Oh, but what was the problem? How did you know it was leaking by?
Because we did a permanganate, we're having issues with the plant. It's taking the iron and manganese out, but not down to a level that I think it should. So we did a permanganate wash of the filter beds. We drained them down and then we let it sit for a day with permanganate in it to reset the plant. While we were doing that, I could hear water washing by when it should have been closed, and that's when we discovered. So you can't see inside of it, so I just bought rebuild kits to start, and then once we pulled it apart to rebuild it, that's when we discovered the hole.
Huh.
So we need to plan on probably replacing all those valves.
Either that or so the one that I'm waiting for now is a 3-week wait.
And how much is the valve?
It's $6,600.
And how old is this plant?
This
now?
one was $3,000. The plant is about 14 years old.
14 years old, these valves are eating through?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
What's the tag saying that out? Is it made in USA or China?
It's hard to read
Read
the
it,
tags
it's not
because they painted over them and they taped over them, and getting the tape off is...
Manufactured by... Made in Canada.
Crazy.
They come any different materials in the body if it's something that we are gonna have a problem
So
with?
if I start asking, so that if you go to stainless, you know it's gonna be a lot more money.
Is it?
So this is
Maybe?
cast.
But you probably can't put, if you got steel pipe, you can't,
Right.
probably can't
You're
use
gonna get
stainless, because you got two dissimilar
Right.
metals, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
worse.
you'd have to jump between the two of them. But
Right.
that's-
Right.
but why is that going? That's a lot of corrosion if you've.
Is it an
only got-
electrolysis thing, or is it? What the manufacturer says,
That's all on cast
He
iron.
just said it depended upon the plan. I was like, so I'm probably gonna send an email off to the manufacturer themselves and say, hey, I'm having this issue. Is this a common thing, and am I to expect all these to fail?
How many of those we have?
We have 24 in the plant. So right now I'm replacing the most
Why
of
don't you ask them to come and take a look at it? Just
Something's
take-
wrong.
just take a look
Actually,
at-
when he does bring, when the thing comes in stock, he's supposed to come out.
Okay. Yeah, I'd ask him to give his opinion on what's going on. And I just make sure that you got enough. How many different types of those valves have we
So
got?
we have 4 different sizes.
Four different
So I
types.
need at least 4 bots,
So,
4 sitting there on the shelf.
so I would think that you're gonna have at least one spare for each different type on hand, so you don't have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for the plant down, especially in the middle of the summer, if this is gonna be the case, if we're gonna be eating through. So you just better budget it, because the plant's getting older and needs
Yeah.
maintenance. That's what you paid for, keep the plant running.
Where do we get a second one of these plants?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're expensive. Water isn't cheap to make. Everybody thinks it comes out of the ground and it's free. It isn't. It comes out of the ground, it's in the ground free, but when we start pumping it out, it costs a lot of money.
Of construction.
So, so are both of the ones that are being eaten through on the finished water?
Yes, I have, it's not gone yet, but at some point it's gonna go. You could, because when we were built, you could see it's washed out. It's getting ready to go.
How about what are the other lines that go with the other valves and run out of the?
Well, unless you pull them apart, you can't see inside.
So there's no, yeah.
So you're not dealing with the manufacturer of the valve when you buy it, you're just dealing with. the
No,
distributor.
they distribute through somebody and they force you,
Can you contact the manufacturer and say, hey, you know, this is what's going on, what's going on? Maybe
I
they'll tell
will
you.
send them an
Yeah, but there was
email.
a manufacturer of the iron removal system.
Yeah, that was,
Why don't you just talk to them and see, that, I mean, they have a number of these plants out there, a lot of them, they have, Bridgewater has one. Just
Right.
check with them and see if they've had that same problem with these valves and the other plants. They got, I think East Bridgewater has one, Bridgewater has one, I think they're all built by the same company.
yeah.
For the amount of these valves cost, it's worth the time and effort to look into it and see if there's
That's
some way.
coming out of the filters, is that before the chemicals go in or after?
So the one that I'm replacing now that you don't see is on the finished side, it's after. It's,
Is this after the
That's
chemicals?
all
this
the
is
way after.
before, this is going in. This
Oh, I thought you
one,
said this was finished water, no?
this is an inlet one.
Oh.
This is a raw
So this is
one.
raw water?
Yeah.
But the other one's after pH adjustment.
That's got all the chemicals, and we're injecting the chemicals to get the iron to separate. So that's pretty nasty, what's going through there.
Yeah, it looks like pee. Basically, when you adjust the chemicals right, it looks like pee going into
It does, yellow color?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it turns instantly,
And if you go too far, then it's pink.
yeah.
Can you get a sample off those lines, and when it's time to talk to those guys, say, look, this is what the water is going in, and see if that's...
Yeah, but
I
on
mean,
the
the
finish
other,
side-
the other possibility is there was something wrong with the castings in the first place, and it's just showing up now from the chemicals. 'Cause I mean, those valve bodies in a water system usually last
Right.
forever.
Art, did you see this one with the pinhole in it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's 50 years old.
No, we put in clay valves and Golden Anderson, which are the same, but all of those would, the castings aren't what had a problem. You'd eat up the insides after a while with the pilot lines or something, but never the valve bodies, not in drinking water.
Yeah, the rubbers themselves are in perfect condition.
Yeah, so maybe get some samples of the water going through at each stage and just see if there's something they can say is a problem, and if it's not, these things shouldn't be out this, I mean, not that they'll guarantee them, but there really shouldn't be any.
Well, see what a stainless steel valve costs.
Oh, God. I'll bet it's 5 times what it.
Yeah.
Five
Straight
times?
cast,
Oh, yeah.
easy. Plus, again, you'd have to jump across so you don't have extra corrosion from the dissimilar metals and
I didn't think stainless would cause a problem with steel, but it will.
with the cast.
Yeah.
Well,
Stainless and
You gotta
cast.
have a barrier in between.
We will.
when you put chlorine in, chlorine wouldn't go through this.
Myox, yes. Myox is how we remove the iron.
Yeah,
But
we use,
you do hit it before that valve.
Yeah, this valve sees it.
yeah, we get a pretty good
Residuals
dose,
to the
that's
other
what
side.
precipitates off the iron. And that has a real high oxidation rate,
Yeah.
so that might have something to do with it too, I don't know.
I mean, if they spec those valves out for that plant, and that's how you run that plant, they should be okay in it, but it doesn't mean,
Doesn't mean that
that
it's,
doesn't mean it wasn't, and like I said, sometimes the casting runs aren't right. But, you know, what
You
do
get
want?
defective casting and stuff, but,
Yeah,
but what, this
happens.
is, but now we got 2 of them, not just, you think once in a great while you get that.
Well, if it's something like that, if it's either one, if it's a bad selection or if it's bad casting, all those valves are gonna come out of the same runs. That have made them all at the same time, so if they were having an issue with the casting, you'd probably have an issue on all the valves, so.
Yeah, they would put
So
the
if it
water.
looks-
is there,
Yeah, so it basically, we should be looking at figuring out why and figuring out how much money we need to set aside to change them out.
yeah. And make sure that you got enough money in there this year for your, so that you could have these on hand, because you don't wanna be in the middle of the summer with the plant down waiting for a valve to come in.
You do have some on hand now, right?
No,
Oh, you don't?
no. I'm replacing it because this is kind of, when the first one went, that's all I was expecting. But now we know the second one's gone and we've already seen a third one get ready to let go.
So the second one, you already took it apart and saw the problem, then put it back together?
Yeah, well,
So we're just waiting for the new one?
I'm just
now?
waiting for the new one to come in,
Where's it come from?
out of Canada,
The distributors in Canada?
yeah.
How'd you find that?
Distributor that runs that?
I didn't, well, it's Clavel, so whoever built the plant, it's not Dufresne Henry. It's,
No.
it's not Stan Tech, it's,
No, it's an iron removal, green sand filter, that's what they do, they build those.
Huntsford and Terry.
That's it.
What is it?
Hungerford and Terry. But they bid that as part of the contract, they just supplied the,
Yeah, they supply the unit, but they buy those valves from Clay Valve, and they
Right.
buy all the components and put them together.
yeah, and then the contractor installed the system, you know, but that, it was bought through Hungerford and Terry. I'd ask Hungerford and Terry if they've had that
Oh,
and any other plants, because I know Bridgewater, I think, has got the same plant. Call them up over there, see if they hadn't had the same issues. They got the same plant, I think.
yeah, I'm not sure how old their plant is.
Huh?
I'm not sure how old, I'm gonna ask Hungerford and Terry because they designed them.
Yeah, start with them, because 14 years for the castings to fail is premature.
Right.
by-
That's gotta be way premature.
When we got our blueprints for to build that,
Yeah,
they used Bridgewater's.
alright, so
They
their
just-
plant's
So
been,
Bridgewater's would be older than ours.
Yeah.
alright,
Yeah, but it wasn't by much, a year or two.
Okay.
It's,
well, if it's a year or two down the road, then.
because they had left some labels on the blueprint to the nips, to the nip well. And I called them up and I said, we don't have a nip well, Bridgewater does.
Yeah, and they're not gonna give you a discount because they copied the drawings.
You're right.
Good job to other people. But actually, it's the reason to call Bridgewater, give them, a heads up too, just in
Right.
case, if they haven't had that problem.
Yeah.
You know, warn them that they might wanna keep an eye on it.
Right.
Okay, so find out what you can and make sure you got enough on hand, no matter what. Hydraulic study map.
So I already kind of discussed that they had a printer error. That was in the beginning?
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
that was in the thing you sent us to.
Right.
No, we had some other issues with that. Hydraulic water.
No, but when we were looking at it last time, remember we were looking at the map, the pipes weren't the
Did we have some
size.
other issues with it?
Not that I know of. I mean, if you have Art was spouting out some technical terms, but
Well, but that had to do more with if that stuff, if they pull the information, but as long as you're saying the stuff that's in the spreadsheet.
right. It
The
did
pipe
match.
numbers have the right,
Right.
because that spreadsheet's what runs the model. It's
I
not
thought there was
the stuff
something else
that's
we
in
looked
that.
at and it didn't seem like it had the right information. It wasn't just,
I can't think of anything.
I didn't think it was just
Well,
a
There might have been a couple of connections, like isolated spots, like
map.
looking at the
Was
map.
it all map related stuff?
I think it was on
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's all we really had, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the spreadsheet, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't correlate. It has
Did
the
have to
street
really
names, it has the
study
pipe
the
sizes, but
spreadsheet.
it didn't match, and that's what they're supposed to fix.
Yeah, as long as the pipe numbers and everything connected is right, doesn't really, the map's less
Yeah.
important. Still need to fix it for us. What they charge. Any idea when that might, they might be getting that?
I would assume, I'll push them and make
They
sure.
didn't give you a,
No, I haven't, they didn't give me a date.
But how about a revenue discussion?
Well, I'll put that in there. Oh, let's go to Canada. Now, make it a little bigger. So I did push against commitment to production. So let me go back out where it stays a little better steady state. So basically, water production, so this is what we're billing out in gallons. This is what we're producing. This is back in the distance. So it's a 21% spread between the two. And it pretty much stays that way right up until you get to the,
when you say
No,
back
is it-
in the distance, year,
yeah, I went way back just to look at them.
No, it's like, are you looking at cubic feet, gallons, or
I
dollars?
converted it to, I always get confused when I do that because it is in cubic feet, but I converted it to gallons and that's what that bottom line is, right?
So
there.
we're
Those are
looking at
gallons
it all in
right
the
there.
same, all gallons?
Yeah, so it's gallons to gallons.
Okay.
And then you can see the spread starts to get very big as we come past February.
February, oh,
This year.
last year.
Now, it's still in this year, February
Is
of
that a
this year.
50% spread there?
no, something's wrong, came with 95% spread.
Yeah,
With my eyes just.
it goes up to 112%.
Huh?
Told you, we're producing more water than we're billing out for. We're producing a
doubled?
lot of water. It should be like that,
Did you
not
do it?
like that.
Did you do any investigations like you were gonna?
We redrove the town now for the past 2 days. I have the sprinkler system, so now if we can't see it, we're gonna go from building to building now, looking at people's sprinkler systems to see.
What about the check valves? We're beyond that, or?
So we don't, so in the summertime, we were running so much, you couldn't have pushed that much back into the well.
Yeah, because all the wells are on.
Right. Right now, we're getting about 3 hours of downtime. We run about 4 or 5, and we're 3 hours of downtime. 1, 4, or 5, 3 hours of downtime.
Well, we haven't added a well in 30-something years, 38 years, 35 years.
Well, at the rate we're producing, we're gonna need a couple of them pretty
Well,
quickly.
if we're only building
not
half,
building it.
if we're not building half of what we're producing, we don't need more wells, we need to.
No, it's not a well problem, it's a,
Right.
it's a
People's
leak.
sprinkler systems, there's no way that many sprinkler systems got put in on the wrong side of a meter since February.
We didn't do any meters for a year prior to that, so.
It happened all at once, it spiked in February.
It's gotta, I mean, if that's how much that is going.
Did we do anything
We
with
need
the,
to get
did
somebody
you
in
change
to
over the
look.
billing? Well, the billing system wouldn't have anything to do with it. Did we change over
Anything else change?
The computer system,
We haven't changed the computer system, we're about to do that.
in January.
So we haven't touched anything yet.
Has anybody gone out and did some spot checking in houses to see if we got the right size meter?
Every time we do a
basis?
leak detect, we are spot checking. We have never come across something that's incorrect.
And that wouldn't have caused it to jump quick. I mean, that goes 21 to 20, sudden jump to 28, then to 50, and it keeps going up.
And it's not,
That's something
we're
else.
1 million gallons a day still, right now.
And it seems like it's something that's getting worse.
What records what we pump?
The meters, right, the mag meters.
Can you,
I brought him in, he.
have you
tested
checked the
them.
amount of time the pump runs and what the mag meter records? See if that makes sense?
And the time and the production equal
Makes
out.
sense.
Yes.
How much were the pricing? You would talk to some of the guys that did leak detection.
So we're gonna be between $10,000 and $20,000.
Take it out of the property maintenance budget and just do it. Because if we're really losing that much water,
It's huge.
I mean, that's double.
We're pumping double the water.
There's either something drastically wrong on something with the meters, which it doesn't sound like there is because you checked all that stuff.
Right.
Or there's a leak that we can't find on our own. You've got to get somebody in here to look at that.
What is this showing us, Wayne?
So that's just our production chart, that we're still up above, we're still 1 million gallons a day.
Gotcha. What's the number next to it?
That's the hours of runtime that we're running a day. So right now, we're down to
12
12
hours.
hours, but we're running 3 systems. I'm pushing,
We're wearing all our equipment out. We're running all this water
that's why my budget's shot.
through the iron removal plant. Yeah.
And well, right now, only
We have to add chemicals to it all if it's
Yeah.
going down the river. Well, get the guys in there to do a leak detection.
I mean, that,
Do
we
it.
haven't touched much on the property maintenance budget. Use that for now, and we'll kick back and get it rolling and go to special town meeting.
We gotta.
You've got money in there, you can pay it out of the
Yeah.
line.
Just
So
spend
currently,
it,
I'm not overspent, no.
just
But at
spend
some
it,
point,
just,
I will.
Well, yeah, but we'll deal with that for the special town meeting. We can't,
Yeah.
if it's this bad, we can't let that keep going.
We're almost doing.
We're pumping 2 gallons for every gallon we're selling.
We're almost doing 300,000 gallons a day on top of what we should be.
I believe so. We should be right around, even with the growth that we didn't grow that much, but we should be right around 750 at this
Is
time
that
of year.
including a little bit of growth?
Yeah. It would be 650, but 750 gives us a
So
little
at
bit.
times, it looks like we're putting out 300,000 a day that we're not billing for.
Well, on average, if you look at where those
About
those
100.
last 3 comparisons were, it's almost double.
Double
Yeah.
what we're,
paying and what we're
billing-
building and
billing and what we're
producing.
producing.
double. So, I mean,
But
that's-
there's still there's a loss factor that's part of that chart, so don't.
Oh, no, it'd be some, I mean, even if you take out the 20% though, that's,
Right.
there's no other basic way we can tell what side of town is losing the water.
Nobody's complained of pressure, dirty water, there's nothing.
work like quoits, but that.
I-
Just thought of
There's no place for it to disappear there.
Yeah, that's true. Jeez,
I mean,
a while
we
ago.
just, the beginning part of this week, that's what we did, because it had been dry for a while, so we drove the town, we drove dead ends, we looked everywhere.
Yeah,
We
What's
thought
the
about-
worst, what's the worst
Well-
main we have in town?
So the 2 bolt mains that you have that run
And
down
South-
Walnut Street
South
or
Main,
South
yeah.
Main.
Where else is it?
Walnut Street has a 2 bolt main also.
In South Main. I see water coming out of
That's
the
on
manhole
the,
cover down,
yeah, that's the Verizon, that's,
coming right out of that Verizon manhole.
Why is the water coming out of
it comes
Verizon?
out
That's just groundwater.
towards from Bedford Street
groundwater.
Yeah,
and comes out. So it actually pours across the sidewalk down near A1 towing. It'll literally pour across the sidewalk.
Even up by my place, it's still coming out of the cover.
Yeah.
Coming right out of the cover.
Yeah, when Verizon works in
The
their
one with small
manholes, they got
holes in the cover,
to
it's
yeah,
coming right
pump
out.
for days.
Oh, yeah, they pump and pump and pump, well, they have to work on those.
And that's the same thing that's happening on South Elm under the bridge.
Yeah, what's going on
There's a
there?
duct bank in there.
Oh, there's a duck bank?
Yep. Because the wires go under the bridge.
Oh, all that water in the road's coming from up on the bridge?
Well, it's not on the bridge, no, there's a duct bank in that sidewalk.
Oh.
That's where the water's coming up at. It's not coming up, our main is actually almost up by the center line there.
Okay.
Now, did you check that 12-inch main Is there a gate on either side on South Main Street? It goes.
We did the bridge, yeah, we
Buses?
shut that bridge off on both sides,
I
and there
mean,
were 2
is it-
gates. It didn't make a difference, and when we cracked it back open then 2 days later, no noise was made. We did South Street Bridge, because there's 2 gates there, there was no noise there. Any bridge that we could shut off, we did. We shut off under 24, we did that for several days too, and there was no noise.
You definitely had that South Main Street isolated, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, that's the thing, is that you guys have done everything you really can do with what,
right.
Yeah,
And
for
the
a
next thing I'm
time
gonna
to
do
do
is
it.
start, I had her Carrie print out a list of this, who has sprinklers, and we're just gonna start walking the buildings and looking at their systems.
What's that gonna cost? What would
Well,
they
it's going somewhere, it has to be disappearing somewhere, so.
be, how could they be using? I mean, who's gonna use 300,000 gallons a day?
it's going through a spring, you're talking
But
about
if
a
it,
fire
right, if somebody
sprinkler
has
system.
something open and it's
He's talking about
draining
fire
out
sprinkler,
somewhere
not a
on
lawn
site,
But I
or
mean-
pipe to a drain.
Oh, I know,
It's
they
not
see
supposed
it.
to, but-
They're
Right
not
across
using,
the
how
parking
could they be using it?
I know.
Right, I don't have, I gotta look, I can't
I get
just
it.
stop looking,
I'm
but,
just curious, what could they possibly be doing with the water?
well, they wouldn't be. If something failed and they didn't see it, I'm not saying that everybody, like, there are, like Lowe's has this checked twice a year, that the places, the better businesses have theirs checked twice a year, so their systems are maintained. Other ones, you never hear, I don't think they're maintaining their systems. It's not to say that a valve somewhere didn't rot out and let something go, and if it's piped out of sight, then it could be going off. I'm just doing whatever I can.
Yeah, I'm
to
just
look for it.
curious, like you're checking
Right,
sprinkler systems, but they'd have to have piped it out of the building to run 300,000 a
right, well,
day.
when they do blow them off, they are piped out of the building. They don't blow them off inside the building. Trust me, I heard about it when the
Somebody-
backflow lady did it. She painted somebody's car brown.
I mean, I don't know how a sprinkler could even be doing that.
It's about 150 gallons a minute.
So it's not wicked crazy, but.
No, so we even looked at any abandoned houses, maybe there's a house that's froze up somewhere and just pouring through, but we didn't find anything that way either.
150 gallons a minute is still a lot of water.
It's
It
a
is
lot of water, but it's
but
not.
you can
what
get
I
it
was
out of like a
thinking.
1 inch or a 1.5 inch
Yeah,
pipe.
You could get that out of an inch pipe?
I think you could get that out of an
No,
inch
not an
pipe
inch.
if it's in a good spot in town.
2 inch anyway would definitely do it, right?
Yep.
I know 1.5 inch would.
Inch and a half would?
Oh yeah, because we tried live jumping one once.
150 gallons a minute is a lot.
Yes.
Definitely 2 inch would do it, no doubt about it. So all it would be is a 2 inch running wide open.
Right.
Somewhere there's a blow off or something.
You gotta checked all the blow-offs way back in the beginning,
Yep.
so it's,
And
it
we
shouldn't
still,
be
I
that.
still checked them and it's.
How many blow offs we have? 3 or 4?
I think we have 5.
We have 5?
But
They
those,
checked all those, but they don't run wide open, right?
No.
those that have all been running before, it's not like they haven't added any.
Well, I didn't know if they got turned to wide open or something. I don't
You
know.
can open them wide open, but we don't.
All right, before the next meeting, I'll come down early, let's go around and look at, see if we can look at all the check valves or all the Paco valves. We'll shut off the pump, see if we can hear anything running backwards before the meeting, before we
Yeah.
do the numbers. Let's see if we can find something there, maybe it's going, like we were talking last meeting about going back down a well. I can see it going back down a well, nobody would even see it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
At 150 gallons a minute isn't that much.
But if they're all running,
Right. In the summertime, it wouldn't have made
I
any
know,
sense, because
but they're not all running right now.
right now they're not.
And
So-
it seems to be getting worse as we went into winter, so that's why I was wondering, it's scaling up.
Couldn't you just check that by shutting one well off for a day? And then shut the next one off for a day? And if you don't have a discrepancy?
So, I can isolate, like this building, I can isolate it.
Shut it down for, I don't know if you can, but I mean, if you could, take
Yeah,
one
we can.
offline for a day, see what your numbers do. Take the next one offline for a day, see what the numbers do.
My issue is when I separate the 2 and 4, because I need them now together, when I separate the 2, it doesn't take very long before we then suffer through 2 weeks worth of the yellow water complaints. And it doesn't,
We gotta find this
it
leak.
moves in a wave too, it's not an instant, it doesn't hit the whole town at
Yeah.
once.
It travels.
It
over
travels
time.
slowly, it's,
Yeah,
I'd hate to see a leak detection company come in for 30 grand, do the whole town, we find out it's a bad check.
right.
that's why I said I like
To
to
check those ourselves.
Check those first.
somehow.
So I don't know if I can pull the cap off so the wells all had meters at one time. So they all have the caps on the top, but I don't know what you see when you pull that cap.
Well, if there's a meter on top, the meter's right there. I don't
Right,
remember if
they're
they're
all
all,
been removed.
I don't remember if they all have meters. They might have taken the meters off because whenever we pulled the meters off,
The last one was.
they were junk. They weren't even working anymore. They just blew apart. Because we ran so much water through them and it was so built up with iron that,
Right, the last one was Norman Ave, and I had him remove it.
yeah, see, so I kind of think that they're all gone now. They put them on there years ago, but I don't think they're there anymore.
But if you look at those, like the last quarter there on the right, what's the difference in dollars if we were building what we pumped compared to what we're building?
Oh, it's a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, but in turn, how many, 10, 20, 30, 50 thousand?
So
No matter what, it's a good investment to find this leak.
So if it's double, it's $500,000.
So we can't, if it, whatever it turns out, we're talking about $10,000, $30,000 for the leak.
It doesn't
detection.
cost us that much
First half.
to reduce the water, but,
Well, no, but it's the revenue we lost
Right.
by putting it out. I mean, that's a lot more than what it'll cost us to go looking for it. And it's weird, it's not dropping down, and you're not seeing it in anything, because like I said, it's not
What's the
like
date
you
of the
have, you're
next
not
meeting?
checking you're checking every.
Right.
you check.
7, okay. So maybe like January 4th or something. I could come in and on that Friday or maybe Thursday, we'll go around and look at all the different, different pumping stations. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on.
Can we do it sooner? Anybody available? Maybe.
I mean, I can go down into the pits, I'm gonna take tomorrow off because I'm sick, but I'll come in the next day and then,
You think just taking the cap off would see it?
I know,
Would we see it and
at
check
least
it
I
out?
won't infect anybody that way.
It wouldn't?
No, I don't think so.
You gotta shut the pump on and convert running back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, you never tell otherwise from, you need to just listen on that.
You can't tell. You're not gonna hear it dripping because the pump's down in the water.
right, there's no real way, the Paco valve is the closest you're gonna come to the pipe. Manley Street can't do it because it can't come back through the
So you're
plant.
gonna have the cover off, have the pump, shut the pump off, and then see if you hear it running back?
Yeah.
Is that the best way to tell?
Well, the other way is to close the gate so that, and then open the gate and you'll hear it hissing by.
So go out there with the pump off,
Right, you close the gate and
with
then
the gate
give it
closed,
an
and then
hour or
open the
two
gate
to
and see if
sit.
you hear it running back.
Right, give it an hour or two to sit to drain past, and then when you crack the gate, it should still be pressurized on the
You'd
other
hear it, would
side.
you hear it
Yeah,
go
so
by
it's
the
gonna
gate?
rush back.
You would, yeah, but you really want to set it up so you hear a louder noise, because it's gonna make noise.
And this would only be a situation where the meter doesn't read backwards
Right,
but that would be in the,
right. This meter here in this building is not set up to read backwards, or if it is, I'm not gonna push the buttons because I don't want to screw up the programming.
so it's not an analog meter,
Right.
it's a digital meter.
It is, but it's not the same as like Manley Street has, or Station 2 has one that can read backwards.
yeah, those were bought to read both ways because they have to.
You say Manley Street can't flow back through those wells, because once it goes out through the plant.
Right, if the plant stops it, it can't. We've had the check valve go before, and you can hear it like weeping out of the plant. It's not a big flow, it's just draining the
When
pipe.
these check valves went in the well out here, we never heard it. We never knew it.
How did you finally realize it was?
I don't remember how we came,
Well, I know that it eventually chewed it, it spit it up into the impeller, and it chewed it up, and then when they pulled it up, we found it.
The check valve went down into the pump?
Yeah,
yeah. We had 2 check valves, one at the top in the ground, and then there was one on the top of the pump. The one on the top broke, and the pieces went down into the well, and it held the check valve open that was on the top of the pump.
But I mean, if either one of those checks were having a problem, you'd be able to hear it on the back flow. Particularly if you got something, you had another valve you could close part of it.
Right.
Should definitely hear it running back.
You would, because you're gonna hear it either, if you close the valve down, you're either gonna hear it making noise getting around the valve. Because this is a big flow too, we're not talking about.
No, it's, right.
Now, that's
Can you
a-
look down?
You won't see it because it's, no, because of the,
What blocks?
The pitless is out.
The pitless is there, you can't see past the pitless.
right. And everything's underwater, so
Yeah.
it's not near the surface. In some cases, when the well's off, it could be 40
20
feet
feet,
below.
30
right?
feet below the water surface.
Right.
Especially now with the water high.
Yeah,
No, but anything that's flowing that 150 gallons a minute, you'd hear that. If you've got something anywhere near that going back, because most of those are what, 6-inch?
Wait a minute. Isn't there a hydrant, like out at each one of the wells?
there is.
Okay, so if we open up the hydrant, and the Paco valve here closes, this one still has a Paco, right?
This still has a park out.
Okay, so it closes. If you open up that hydrant, we shouldn't have any water coming out. Pumps off, shouldn't have any water.
No, it's
That'll
station,
tell us right off the bat, right?
well, I know at Station 2, the Parco closes tight because I opened up that hydrant in front of the well checking. Out here, on these two wells, this Parco doesn't close that leak tight.
Well, that's a good indication that you could have water running back if those check valves aren't working.
But it's never closed leak tight in the 14 years I've been here.
We'll get it repaired.
I do have them serviced.
Told the guy to
It's
get it
just
so
never
it closes, they're supposed to
It's
close tight.
sealed. I mean, he works on the outside, the
You
electronics.
see what I'm saying?
No.
That-
Well, I think I do. If it's leaking back, you're gonna get water out of the hydrant when you shouldn't.
Right, right. So if there's a Paco valve right here and a tank, right here, and it calls for it to close, then no water should be coming down the hill and going back, be able to go down to the check valve, because it's closed off right here. But if this Paco valve's leaking by, and you're getting water out of the hydrant, that tells you that,
But you'd have to have the Paco valve bad and the check valve bad.
right.
Right.
But if the Paco valve's bad, now, if the Paco valve shuts off tight, there's no way you're gonna go down check valve. Because the Paco
No, if
isn't
it's
gonna allow.
leaking a little bit though, you still, you'd have to be leaking a lot to get that big a leak.
You know, it depends on how much it's leaking.
That was,
I don't know how much it's
I would
leaking.
think we got, I would
Just
think
a
we got a
butterfly
problem,
down,
something
right?
with the equipment at the well. I mean, 150.
I do too. I think
gallons a
there's
minute,
some-
It would show up, I would think.
It's something.
What's your experience at? I mean, you worked in public. Would you almost guarantee that 150 gallons
that's
per minute would show up somewhere?
You think it would have shown up somewhere by now. Which
Unless
is
it's
why I
a
think
perfect
it's going-
storm and it's in a riverbed?
If it's going somewhere, you're not gonna see it. I think we should be able to see it at a well, you know, we were pumping all the time.
Right.
So that's the only thing that's like maybe, you know, it's going backwards. If you're pumping all the time, it can't be going backwards. Right? Because the pumps are always pushing water out.
Right.
Now that we're shutting down, you should, if it's one well, I think you'd be able to.
If you're shutting down, you should be a
150
bigger
gallons a minute.
discrepancy, and we're starting to see a bigger discrepancy.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. Now we're starting to see a bigger
You
discrepancy
didn't see a
with more
big discrepancy in the
downtime.
summer because we were using the water, you know what I mean? You put the water in the system, it's getting used. Now you're running, and you're off, the longer you're off, the more it's running back, and you should see a bigger discrepancy.
Exactly, that's what we're
And I think
seeing.
we are seeing a
Or,
bigger
or
discrepancy.
wherever the leak is, you're gonna still see a bigger discrepancy, because a leak like that, if you have a big leak, it's gonna get worse over time.
That too, right.
And you saw that going up, the 21, the 50, the 90s, I mean, that's,
I think we gotta, I don't know.
I mean,
Yes.
it's worth checking the wells to make sure it's not that
But a
going
leak,
back.
like you said, a leak does get bad, but
I mean,
it
if
seemed like the
one of
more
those is-
water we were pumping, the less the discrepancy.
Well, but that's also
Well,
the
it's
very
building
beginning.
up, it's at the beginning.
But,
A leak doesn't get better, it gets worse because the pipes don't
Gets
start
worse,
getting
but I mean-
hot.
And it went from about, was it 21 to 28 the next quarter, to 50 the next quarter, to basically double the next 3 quarters that were in there.
the only way you could tell is go through a cycle, go
Whatever
back
it
to
is.
summer, and if our discrepancy went down, that would,
We'll never make it.
I don't know.
No, at this point, we just have to find it. You know, like I say, if we check, yeah, that's a ton of water to be coming back. You'd think the parking lot.
We should be on it this
not
week
see
trying to
it
check
all
these
right
check
back
valves
around.
somehow. I mean,
If
I'm
it
not
can't
real
be-
familiar with the
If
equipment.
it
so I
can't be the
tell you how
ones
to
at
do it.
Manly, because we got that break there, it can't backflow through the plant.
When you got time, go around
I
there.
I don't know the equipment. I just,
I'll-
you know, I'd be
Before
learning as
Friday.
I'm troubleshooting
Before Friday, I'll have been in the pits.
and come up with a theory, you know, a process to kind of,
To test to make sure it's not it.
the check valves, right? Is that
Right.
basically what we're
Yeah.
talking about here?
Yeah, you have something to listen on the pipe with. There you
Yes.
go. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that big a leak wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to hear that going back by.
You have listening equipment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
I'd be checking all those, turn the pump on, shut the pump off.
if, you know, if we get lucky, it's one of those, and if we don't, we're gonna have to get somebody out here to do this.
Right, so like I said, if we test them all, it's not it, then we need to get somebody here, we gotta stop messing around. Winter's coming too, it's not gonna help them do their job finding it either.
Well, you know, the thing is, if they do, it's not gonna help us fixing it.
No.
You know, if they find it and all of a sudden we gotta worry about freezing and then having trouble fixing where hopefully it wouldn't be.
I don't think you're gonna find it in the
It
road
was,
somewhere.
no, if it was in a road, would've washed the road out.
You would've found it.
Exactly. It's gotta be going on a river, or it's gotta be going down a well or
Or,
something.
or a Verizon duck bank.
But it's gotta be going on a swamp or something where you're not seeing it.
If it was getting, you used to lose it, you wouldn't find it because they were getting like into a regular street sewer or something like that. Because the water wouldn't come up and get into the trenches and, you know, going through the leaky pipes and whatnot, or follow the trench. But we don't have, except in a few of the newer subdivisions, we don't have sewer like that.
So do you wanna, try to work with them this week? Take a look at it?
Give me
or
a
do you have
call, give
time?
me a call when you're going and I'll see if I can, I mean, I'm actually getting a little bit slower now than I had been.
See, I could do it the next week, I can't do it this week, but I could do
Yeah,
it the next
if,
week.
if you're feeling good enough and you're gonna do it, give me a call. Only time I'm definitely out is, tomorrow afternoon and, maybe Wednesday, about half of Wednesday I'm out. But if you do it like Thursday or Friday, I should be
Yeah.
around.
Okay, anything else?
All right, so I told you that the town meeting is basically, it's based around the school department.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be in March, so we have to be ready. I notified Tara Howard that he has to get me some numbers quickly because I can't do a replacement well and get it onto the meeting.
Okay, well, next meeting, we're supposed to be doing looking at all the numbers and everything, and
Yeah,
figuring out where we're at.
Yeah.
Set some projects up, what we're gonna do next year, and figure out where the money's coming, what we got for surplus, what we can put into what. We'll go from there.
all right.
Update where we are with all the bills for the different things, the chemicals and what. I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
we're pumping that much more water than we should be. You'd think we'd be burning through the chemicals
Yeah,
a
well,
lot
yeah.
faster.
Is the,
We're less than half and we're halfway through the fiscal year.
Oh, that should tell us something. If it's running back through the check valve, we're not treating that water, correct?
No, you're still treating it.
we still-
Probably,
Yeah, we're
you
putting
pumped
treated
it,
water back
treated
up.
it, and it runs back
So
up.
we are putting treated water back in.
If that's what's happening.
you know, I think I remember now, when it was leaking back, we had the pH up to 7, and I think that's how we discovered it, now that I think of it. Because when the well was turned on, we were getting like really super high, 10.5 for the first half hour, an hour, when we were pumping the water out. That was because
You were treating already.
we were treating it, double treating it. We were treating this big puddle of water that was 7, and we sucked it out, and now we were
Treating it
getting...
again,
Trying to. put it-
Yeah,
sending it back down the well.
and we noticed that. Have you noticed anything like
The
that?
only thing we have is the startup spike and then it goes away. It's a 5 minute.
Oh, that's quick though, yeah.
Right.
But you haven't seen
Yeah,
it
so
like that.
something like this that'd go
I
on
do
for
remember
hours.
that.
If I shut off my KOH, the pH drops down to 5.5. And if I shut off my chlorine, everything goes to, residuals go down to 0. It's not like anything's coming up to.
How many,
Yeah,
yeah.
How many new houses have we had in a year here? Let's say 2 years.
So the farms is probably the
On,
biggest, and he came spread out over a couple of years,
so let's say in 2 years, how many houses that add?
maybe 30 houses,
How many water customers have we added in 2 years?
maybe 30.
In 2 years, 30?
Yeah, we don't, it's not a big town, it's,
No, and it's not a lot of big stuff as well.
That's 6,000 gallons a day average.
yeah, it's not a lot.
6 to 8,000. Not 300.
I mean, they're all sprinkling, but they're doing it in the summertime, and they're sprinkling less, I can tell you.
You're not sprinkling now.
Right.
Well, let's have to look, see if we can find the leak. Water's going somewhere, or either that or we got a mechanical problem trying to register it.
Yeah,
It's just not showing up.
And you're getting all the readings through the SCADA system.
yes.
Now, have you had him out to calibrate the
Yes, he did
estimators?
part of he did part of it, he hasn't come back out, he still has, he did a couple of the stations, couldn't do Manly because it was down.
How were we? How were we? Were we?
I haven't,
a
I
couple
don't think I've
percent?
gotten it back. He didn't say anything was outrageous.
Okay.
There's no calibration issue between the SCADA system and the meter that reads the water and...
No, and that's basically when he checks it, he's looking at the SCADA when he does it.
Yeah,
too.
that's what he does. And he does it at different flow rates.
Yeah, he
Okay.
varies, he does like 5 different flow rates.
Yeah.
The meters are perform at different levels.
All right. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
No, not yet.
Oh, you're still going?
Oh, yeah. So this next thing, so when you see on the thing, discussion, possible vote, I have to do that. So the 2 of you weren't here, but we have a person in town who loves to put in open meeting law violations against the town. He doesn't get it that you're costing the town money, rather than call up and say, hey, you might want to redo this one. No, he files them, and then you go through the efforts of getting it done. So you're probably going to see that more and more. On the bottom, I'm just going to have a standard line now. Discussion, possible vote on any item on the agenda. So the highway department bought their gigantic trucks, which they can only fill with their bigger loader now. So they've asked to use the backhoe. This is discussion only. You can't vote on it, but you can give opinions. So they want to use our backhoe with our snow pusher for all the snowstorms, and I'm against it. FinCom fought us on every piece of equipment we bought. They fought me to replace something that was 30 years old, almost killed several of our guys in the process while we were trying to get rid of it. And if it goes out there, then it's gonna get abused, and it's gonna rust out, and in 30 years, well, I won't be here, but somebody else is gonna have to fight again to get another one.
Still gotta last 30 years because
It won't last.
the old one was 30 years old, never went out and dug salt.
Plus, we use ours here. I mean, my pickup truck can only do so much. If we had a blizzard, then all bets are off and every piece of equipment has to go up and help the town, but...
So they don't want to load salt and sand, but they want to...
No, they want to push,
Put it
they
in the
want to
school.
clear
If
parking
it's got a
lots.
pusher on it, it's going to a parking lot.
Right, they're going and clearing parking
Well,
lots.
that's what we use here.
That's what I
we
used
use
for
it
here,
for
that's
our-
why we bought it for here. Right.
We push our own, we got 4 pump stations to
What
open
are
up.
you're plowing with your truck, Wayne?
Yeah, I do our stations, but like we had one big storm where I just couldn't get from one end of town to the other. By the time I got back, it wasn't big enough. My truck's not big enough for it. I mean, our trucks wouldn't have half the mileage or half the rust they have on them now. I mean, if they want to give us 50,000 towards half the cost of the backhoe, then fine. But at some point, they should be buying half the equipment if they want to, because it's dying out with them using it.
So if they can't use they can't push because they have to use that loader to fill.
Well, they used to use the big one. They push with the big one and the
They
backhoe.
probably use the big loader in a parking lot somewhere, but that needs to stay in load sand, which sounds
Right,
like makes
yeah,
sense.
it's tied up.
So
to
it probably took that,
So it can probably do the town hall lot and the stuff right around there, but not
Right.
moving it further.
so
Right,
they probably want to put it in a school or something, but...
Yeah, but then we need that to do these
right,
properties, and we have to keep these open, as we have to keep water.
right. I mean, I can't
What
tell.
did we do this
them-
with before, Wayne? Before we didn't do it with the old backhoe.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
OB
would.
used to,
Yeah.
OB used to do it, yeah, with a
I mean,
backhoe.
when it gets heavy, you just switch over. we didn't have a truck, so you'd use the backhoe. Or
What
you'd
are we
come down
sending
with
to
the
the town now, the
six-wheeler.
six-wheeler and the one-ton?
Right.
And you can't keep up with doing this and the stations with your truck?
No, because I can't fly to the other, like on a normal day, you can make it across town in a good 10 minutes. In a snowstorm, it's almost 30 minutes sometimes getting, because people are out that shouldn't be, but beside the point. And then I've got to plow all of them, so it's almost an hour or two before I get back to any other spot.
And then we have to get in and out of the tanks too, because you gotta leave,
Right.
you gotta get them open. You don't just have the pumping stations and the iron removal
I
plant.
mean, truly in a good storm, one of our guys should be here with one of our trucks pushing, not just,
Well, you got the, like up on Manley Street, you got the pumping station on one side of the street, you gotta plow all that.
Right.
Then you got the iron removal plant on the other side of the street, you gotta do all that, so it's like having two pumping stations up there. And then
A
you
lot of
got,
it can be done at the end of the storm too, right? I mean,
it depends, I mean, if you have a 3-inch storm,
Depends on the storm.
yeah, it can go to the end of the storm. If you have a 12-inch storm, you don't really want to wait that long, because then it's setting up.
And they're looking to take it and
And-
put it
and our
somewhere,
guys-
not
Right.
have us let them use it at the end of the storm
Right.
afterwards.
and our guys still have to go in and fill the chemicals and everything every morning, the same schedule like they always do. You can't.
these guys wanna plow, how's that work out?
They all want to plow so far.
They do.
Whoever drives Miss Phyllis, I don't know why you'd want to plow, because that's such a tank. The F800.
So it's not a problem getting the guys to plow, they don't mind plowing.
No, they don't mind plowing.
No, I mean, we have that here in terms of, for us, that's why.
Right, that's why I bought it.
That's why the water commission bought it, that should be our
Right.
use here first. I don't know why we'd give it to,
I mean, in a blizzard, then all bets are off, and yeah, everything has to go up to help the town.
yeah, but
We haven't really had that in a while. Luckily.
I understand where they're coming from, I guess, but, and I mean, we don't use the backhoe a lot, but it does help justify if we do plow snow with it, but.
well, no, but if they're gonna use it for plowing, then we don't need it at all. If you give them, if you can give it away for the snow plowing, then it's,
Well, it would have to, you know, just keep this open with the pickup, and then you can finish it with the backhoe when it comes back or something, but.
Well, you have to
would
keep-
it, would it even be coming back if they're gonna keep it like over at the high
Oh,
school?
no, you can't keep it, no,
No,
no. Like the other two trucks that plow for the town, two of our trucks plow roads now.
Yeah,
So the
yeah, they
backhoe,
go by my street and knock out the neighbor's
so the backhoe,
mailbox every other.
so the backhoe would do the same, come back again, so they wouldn't stay there.
But see, first thing in the morning when the guys all come in, we have a lot of stuff to plow. You got three things on, between Walnut Street and Manley Street. You got three sites just on that end of town. And then you got three good-sized ones right here.
And that, I have to keep I've got to keep open up into the pit area too, because if we have a break, you have to get to the sand, even though it's frozen. You spend the next 3 days trying to break in during the break. I forget which storm I had to do that in.
So you're not looking for a vote, but I mean, it's starting to sound like we don't think it's a real good idea, other than when you have the world blowing up and you have to.
When the world's blowing up, then that's different.
Put it down as put it in for a vote for next meeting.
Yeah. Now, so we've all gotten our Mass Waterworks bills here. Did you guys at home get Mass Waterworks bills?
I haven't seen one.
Are you members?
Plymouth County, not Mass.
Plymouth
Alright.
County water.
But I haven't seen a bill for that
Is
either.
that what you're
No,
talking about, Wayne?
yeah.
Plymouth County?
Yeah,
I've never seen a
because the
bill. I
Mass-
think it comes
It
here.
comes here,
All right, because I,
just Plymouth County though.
Doesn't Mass Water Works cover all of us? If you pay one membership, it used to be under the town of West Bridgewater?
yeah, I have the one membership.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think we're all covered. It says 50 years of service in the water industry.
Yeah, I was just checking because they came in for the guy, so.
Oh, wait a minute, that's American Water Works. Because
Well, we have to take the classes, this is also a class year for us too, so. Next year is a renewal year, so we all need our credits.
You got them
so, but
already
we're all
signed up
members
for
of
it.
Plymouth County, right?
I'm starting
I think we're all-
to, you try to pick classes that are gonna help you, not,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and then now we're within the year's time frame, so now you just not signing up, because,
Let me know what Easton as is.
yeah, they haven't, and yet, the one we're gonna go to is Foxborough.
What's that one?
It's on chemical pumps.
Oh, yeah. When's that one?
It's coming up in,
Over the winter, nothing else.
it's in January, I believe. It's like a Wednesday or something.
Who's that one through? New England Water Works or
No,
Mass?
it's malt sales. Well, it's I don't think it's through anybody. It's malt sales.
Is it through Plymouth County? Are they putting it on?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, it's on the 16th.
So what does that one there cost?
I think it's $190. And that's 5 credits.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because you need 20
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good one.
Every 2
All
years
day.
or 3 years?
every 2.
2?
No, you gotta do it, so whatever you can get in on.
Yeah.
So what else?
I think that covers everything.
I got something on the old business. That 40B on Belmont Street is
Yep,
getting through zoning board here. Have we taken a close look at that, see if there's any comments or suggestions? Should we pull it
I
out?
don't think
take a
they've
look?
done any flow testing yet.
Well, we need some comments or something to
We need,
button it down before this thing gets approved and then they're installing it, we're like, what the hell's going on here?
How
So,
many units?
we,
48, I think.
Yeah.
well, they have to prove to us that there's enough water up there.
Yeah, they
So-
haven't done any flow tests or anything.
So now that we've got the model done, they should pay to have
Yeah.
the engineer to plug in their project. They gotta give us the flow rates and everything that they
All
need.
right, so at this point, I need a letter to the zoning board asking for what we need before it gets approved.
All
Okay.
right.
Can you put a letter together and have Kerry send it over to them?
Yep.
And should we look at the plan, see how it's piped and what's going
Yeah.
on there?
And once they
Where
get
the height?
that far, they probably,
And they-
they probably aren't that far along.
Oh, it
No,
sounds
they're
like
moving
they get
along.
close to the end of
Well,
zoning board. I
utilities.
thought, I didn't think so, but
No, they've been moving along now for almost a year.
Well, we should start out the letter saying that we're not sure if we have enough water to supply the project in that area. And we're gonna have to do a flow rate in that section to see.
do we have the set of
if-
plans here, Wayne?
If we could do it.
That came through, I don't think I got a big set of plans. We only
Should,
have,
everybody gets a set, every department gets a set of
I don't
plans.
think we got one yet.
no. All we got was the original ones that showed like the model and,
That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
yeah, I haven't gotten anything. It showed the various units.
But nothing about the
It was like
utilities.
more
going-
conceptual, nothing.
Nothing, no site plan showing water
I didn't
mains or
get,
something?
no, we've got no site plans, no nothing, because they're all
So-
sitting right here, trust me.
So we need to ask for a set of site drawings so that we can review the water mains and
Water mains, the proposed connections to our water system.
propose, yeah, a
and-
site plan
And
showing
that
all the
they're
water
gonna need
works.
to come through and
sprinkler lines, water mains, talk about how we're metering it. We haven't seen anything, huh? I thought we had some plans of
No.
some sort, no?
No, the only thing I ever got in the beginning was just the conceptuals, and that didn't have piping or anything, I don't think.
Does that make sense, Gary? So,
I had no idea that it was even going through, I hadn't heard
Yeah.
anything. I mean, that was like a couple of years ago, wasn't it, that we were up there?
It was like in the spring, I don't think it was this year, so I think it was last year.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And we brought it up to the owner and to the state that we weren't sure if we had enough water to even supply that project.
Yeah, they never got back to us either.
Yeah, we told them right off the bat, we said, you know, we only got a 6-inch
I thought they
main.
did a flow test, Wayne, didn't you?
No, there's no flow test been done. Yeah, there's a 6-inch main there, but
That's
nobody's
all.
done any flow tests in this end.
And it's
now.
6-inch all the way from here, from
Alright.
6th Street.
You're not gonna supply that many units extra in that area
Not
without
five,
something
They're
else
not
being
gonna go
done.
on
So
3
they-
floors either.
And
No.
should there be some
We're gonna
wording
be
in that
sprinkling.
letter to,
Yeah, he
I
was
guess
talking
we gotta word it
about.
somehow.
Well, they have to
that
now,
prove
the
that-
code,
that-
you know,
that
if
supply
they
the
want
water. I
3
mean,
stories.
supply the water. Sounds
No,
like
they have to pay to have our engineer run the models, decide, show what water is available there and what they have to pay for our improvements in the system to get any extra water that they may
Right,
need.
so this is what.
That's what the model's for.
Right, so we need to see what their usage is gonna be and how it affects our system, and then if it needs the upgrades, we need, then now.
Yeah, they'll tell them, you have
Now
to
we have the
increase-
right tools in place to push for the upgrades, because we can tell what our system is.
Exactly.
Right, and we should be able to get an answer quick.
Right, do we
Because-
have the,
Should be.
we still don't have that yet, though,
What?
the whole system,
The,
The model itself.
the actual model itself
Yeah.
on the
We
program.
still don't
No.
have, I've never seen anything to see what we produce, what we demand, what we,
Well, that's the demand,
different-
that's the
That's the
build-out.
demand study, the build-out study.
that's
For this,
probably, that's supposed to
but
be done as
that's
part
not
of
what we want for this part though. What this, all he needs for this part is you take what we have going on here. They do have the numbers for build-out, they can run that out, but
Right.
it's what is that
But part
drop.
of this whole thing we've been paying for, they're supposed to be doing,
The build out, yes.
the build-out, right?
Yeah.
But the
Where do they have on
hydraulic,
that?
the hydraulic map they should be able to plug in whatever the fire rate flow is gonna be during the fire, and then show the draw at
On
that
a six-
point.
Right, oh
And
yeah.
then they should, you know, the model should say, well, it's not gonna produce, if they say they
What it
need
does, what the-
800 gallons to run it, they're only gonna get 400, and then it'll say, but the upgrade has to be all the way back.
Where are we at with the build-out with,
I haven't heard anything, but I warned him not to send any more bills without
I mean,
coming
that's
in.
just taking way
Look,
longer.
last time he presented something, a lot of the information was there, but part of it was you couldn't figure out the way they were presenting it to show, to easily show where it was gonna go up. And he was supposed to check out
Yeah,
a couple
because
of
he went
things.
off of some maps that weren't accurate.
Yeah, so he was supposed to be checking out some of the other areas to make sure.
Right, he
you know, what
declared land
was going on.
unbuildable that was partially buildable.
Yeah.
Right, right. I
They
remember
they
that.
were
That's the
supposed to
last
go
we saw
back,
it,
and
right.
but that shouldn't have taken that long to tweak.
No, that was 6 months ago. We haven't heard another
Well,
thing
it's three.
since.
Yeah, I don't know, 6.
Huh?
I don't know,
At
6,
least
but it's
3.
been a few,
Yeah, it's been a while.
so.
I'll ask him for an update.
And mention to him, we're gonna have, you know, we should be having this thing coming through pretty quickly to have to take a look at it.
Yeah, have them give us a figure so we can give this contractor a figure on what
I'm supposed to
that,
have a
you know,
meeting
is probably
tomorrow
gonna
for
cost.
that zoning board.
Because he's gotta pick up, the
It should-
contractor's gotta pick up the tab for us.
Shouldn't be a lot of money, it's probably like an hour of
I think
computer
you
time.
have
to write
yes,
a
I
letter.
think it's gonna be Thursday night.
But it shouldn't come out of our pocket.
No, oh, definitely
Should be on
not.
calendar, town calendar.
I think they re-advertise, because something get advertised right for tomorrow night, so I don't think the meeting's tomorrow, I think it's gonna be Thursday night.
I'll be able to, they have like 48-hour window.
Right.
So if I look at the calendar. it
Should be on there.
Yeah,
If we could have that for that meeting, it'd be good.
yeah.
What do you do, get it to the town hall, and then get it to the secretary for the zoning board, or how's that
I'll
work?
just send it to her.
To Linda?
I don't have any more.
How are you, Tom? You done? Okay, do I hear a
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.